So, I'm going to write you the absurd commentary of this very silly man called Tech Lead.
He docks his critics when they try to call him out.
He has a reputation that can absolutely never be fixed.
Perhaps he was just hiding his narcissistic traits, and with each inconvenience in his life, like losing his jobs, wife and kid, they became more apparent as time went on.
So, in my opinion, Tech Lead needs to quit YouTube permanently.
I left him in the trap, drinking out of cups made of styrofoam, and I don't wanna waste my time. I've been watching every single Andrew Tate type of video, and I know baby mama tripping and I don't know why. She left me all alone in an empty house. I know that we all could be alright if I could learn to code my life. I left him in the trap, drinking out of cups made of styrofoam, and I don't wanna waste my time. I've been watching every single Andrew Tate type of video, and I know baby mama tripping and I don't know why. She left me all alone in an empty house. I know that we all could be alright if I could learn to code my life. In the early days of modern tech YouTube, young viewers were fascinated by a programmer who used his supernatural abilities to become a millionaire by age 25, taking on multiple important positions in the tech industry and starting several web-based projects, making a giant impact online. And then he disappeared. During my own struggles, I had turned to this legend for encouragement, inspiration, and comfort. However, for far too long, the best parts have been kept secret from the one who deserves it the most. I wrote this so you may be inspired to see past the spectacle, in hopes that someday you will seek out the Tech Lead and find out who he truly was, who he truly is. Because behind the smoke and fog of this robotic legend lies a devastated man who has lost everything he has ever loved. About 3 decades ago, an Asian couple from Korea and China respectively emigrated to the United States of America, relying on their traditional values and each other to build a life in a strange country. Their son, Patrick Shu, would inherit all these layers. They would be the foundation for his success and shape the way he sees the world for decades to come. Starting off as a B student, Patrick would improve his grades by simply deciding to work harder, which turned him into a straight A student for the rest of his high school career. But with that came all the bullying and name-calling attached to the nerdy Asian stereotype. Fortunately, his hard work would pay off in the end, graduating as the valedictorian, and a door to a whole nother world was unlocked and opened. I left him in the trap, drinking out of cups made of styrofoam, and I don't wanna waste my time. I've been watching every single Andrew Tate type of video, and I know baby mama tripping and I don't know why. She left me all alone in an empty house. I know that we all could be alright if I could learn to code my life. I left him in the trap, drinking out of cups cops made of styrofoam, and I don't wanna waste my time. I've been watching every single Andrew Tate type of video, and I know baby mama tripping and I don't know why. She left me all alone in an empty house. I know that we all could be alright if I could learn to code my life. After studying computer science and electrical engineering, he began working for companies like Sun Microsystems, Microsoft, and Sony. On the side, he would teach himself a programming language named PHP, launching his own side projects, some of which gained major popularity, namely Human Pets, a kind of dating site mixed with an internal economy, and a series of RPG games among other ventures. These would generate thousands of dollars per day, eventually making him a millionaire. The extra money allowed him to travel the world working as a remote programmer from place to place, like Hawaii, Japan, UK, Italy, and other countries. These adventures were beautifully captured on Patrick's smaller channel, Blue Eden, during his photography days. When he returned permanently to the US, he came back with an impressive profile, landing a job as a tech lead at Google. On a vacation to Japan, Patrick would meet a woman who would change his life, both for better and for worse. I left him in the trap, drinking out of cups made of styrofoam, and I don't wanna waste my time. I've been watching every single Andrew Tate type of video, and I know baby mama tripping and I don't know why. She left me all alone in an empty house. I know that we all could be alright if I could learn to code my life. I left him in the trap, drinking out of cups made of styrofoam, and I don't wanna waste my time. I've been watching every single Andrew Tate type of video, and I know baby mama tripping and I don't know why. She left me all alone in an empty house. I know that we all could be alright if I could learn to code my life. Relying on his intelligence and hard work to get through high school, as well as years of intense computer programming, had made Patrick a robot of a man, choosing always to go with the logical solution and forgoing other aspects of humanity that were much more emotionally based. But when he met this one woman in Japan, he was able to tap into the most impulsive and illogical emotion of them all: love. He took her with him on his adventures, leaning heavily into his romantic side. With Patrick being a photographer in his free time, I could imagine that he captured beautiful and stunning imagery of these moments. Growing closer and closer together with every adventure, the two lovebirds would conclude their travels with a textbook romantic marriage proposal in Iceland, under the beautiful Aurora Borealis. After their marriage ceremony in Thailand, they would return to America, get a puppy, and eventually introduce the baby boy into their family. Patrick would switch jobs from Google Tech Lead to Facebook Tech Lead. He would also start his YouTube channel at about this time, ready to settle down and pass his wisdom on to the next generation as the legendary Tech Lead. I left him in the trap, drinking out of cups made of styrofoam, and I don't wanna waste my time. I've been watching every single Andrew Tate type of video, and I know baby mama tripping and I don't know why. She left me all alone in an empty house. I know that we all could be alright if I could learn to code my life. I left him in the trap, drinking out of cups made of styrofoam, and I don't wanna waste my time. I've been watching every single Andrew Tate type of video, and I know baby mama tripping and I don't know why. She left me all alone in an empty house. I know that we all could be alright if I could learn to code my life. The Tech Lead's channel would become popular for its deadpan sarcasm and straightforward delivery by a wise sage of computer programming. He would make friends with others in the field like Joe Matek, a data scientist who runs his own channels focused mainly on good quality skits, and Clement Mihelscu, who started his own site focused on teaching people how to pass programming interviews. All three would collaborate on some wholesome, entertaining videos in a genre that was usually school-like and boring. Tech Lead and Joe Matek would start their own Learn to Code product, and Tech Lead would eventually launch a crypto called Million Token. One day, when the Tech Lead came home from work, the moment he opened that door, he triggered a series of unfortunate events, and everything began to fall apart.
Hey, TechLead here, and welcome back to another episode. Now, I have a bit of funny news to share with you guys. It's not that funny, actually. My wife left me. Now, I know that some of you guys may be surprised that I have a wife, or had, and I have a kid as well, a 3-year-old child. He's great. I love that guy. But one day she just took all of her stuff, packed all her bags, took my kid, and just left, went back to Japan. I strongly believe that children should be growing up with 2 parents. So it is just an absolute shame that this had to happen. And you know, we did have some issues. I did not expect it would get this bad to this point. I had always envisioned that I would be living many years to the end of my life with this person and my son, and that it would just be a great family. But there were differences in culture, in value, in where people wanted to be. Her family was mostly over in Japan. I tried my absolute hardest to get this to work, and I loved both of those people to the very end until they just decided to leave without really talking about it anymore and broke off communications. So
the tech lead's wife had taken their son and left for Japan out of the blue. What followed was a series of videos where a clearly devastated tech lead shared the news to his viewers. Later, while he focused on recovering from this devastating experience, he received more bad news.
hey guys, today I was fired from Facebook. Like one moment I was attending my kid's birthday party, working my 9-to-5 job, and then the next day everything vanished as if none of it even happened. And I was like halfway there, halfway to that dream of having a blissful marriage, 2 kids, a white picket fence, a dog. I mean, I had 1 kid, I had the wife, I had the dog. We were bidding on the house, and then one day it all turned to pure garbage. At this point, it feels like I have been running through some marathon, and halfway through it, I find out that the marathon's already over, someone else won it. Maybe my ex-wife's new boyfriend. And that gold medal prize, it's gone. So here I am, just really existing, going around, looking at people. Like, am I happy? Is this happiness? What am I even doing here? There's a sense of restlessness, emptiness. I'm making stupid little YouTube videos for stupid little people, reading stupid little comments. And who knows, maybe everybody, they're just bots, right? Maybe nobody's watching this video except you and all those other views that we're getting. Maybe they're just those outsourced bots that I paid for. And I find myself questioning, what am I even doing here? I think I'm having a midlife crisis.
While the tech lead was focused on regaining himself, the young people who grew up watching him had come of age, and they had a few words of their own.
On one hand, you have blue-eyed white Joma. On the other hand, you have tech lead white dragon. Use polymerization, what do you get? Clickbait ultimate bullshit.
We are software engineers.
Well, actually, you're unemployed, and he was mostly a data scientist.
We are industry veterans.
You've been a full-time software engineer for 4 months now?
This changes everything.
It has changed literally nothing. But more recently, they've come out with a new product,
Algo Pro.
Now, if you're thinking this sounds familiar, you're probably thinking of their ex-sponsor, Algo Expert. But now Joma and TechLead have nuked all affiliation with Algo Expert to create the exact same product with the exact same name.
It turns out the tech lead had infringed on the trademark of someone who considered him a friend. by redirecting users looking for Clement's products to his own product. As a result of this, Clement cut off all affiliation with the tech lead.
In fact, they even bought algoexpert.com to have it lead back to their URL.
There's been this domain out there, this URL that you can type in your browser, that is using the AlgoExpert brand, our trademark, AlgoExpert, but that isn't algoexpert.io. At this point in time, when I'm filming this video and releasing this video, there is absolutely zero relationship, 0 ounce of a relationship, business or personal, between AlgoExpert or me and the people who are behind this domain, behind the product and website that the domain redirects to.
What's worse is that he doxed the kid that criticized him and his product.
It's understandable if you want to defend yourself online, but I really hope you don't release my name online. I've kept this private for a reason. I have my face in my video, so clearly I'm not anonymous. So then he just goes on a huge tangent and basically says, I'm gonna dox you if you don't take your video down. Here's a personal suggestion. I think you should really stop with all of this for a while. I don't know what your mental health is like right now. I know it's really hard to lose a family, and I don't want to kick a person when they're down. But when you're doing things like this, you kind of leave me with no choice.
Further harming his reputation. But this was only the beginning. After the drama, the tech lead would focus more on his personal life. For 8 long months, his wife refused to let him see his child in person. And for 8 long months, he fought for this opportunity to see his son. And finally, he did. Unfortunately, this victory was short-lived. His wife would continue to deny him access to his child. This attached with a whole bunch of other issues.
Oh my god, I lost my child support case. This is going to destroy me. I have to pay like $5,000 per month in child support for the next 15 years or something like that. So my retirement is out of the window now. Okay, wow guys. Okay, so this is not clickbait. I went to jail. The other night, policemen came to my home and arrested me. And later finding out that it was my ex-wife who arranged the whole thing, who reported me to the police for domestic violence. I would say false domestic violence charges, but there I was having dinner with my son. We were having pasta, and then suddenly 6 big policemen come into the apartment building and arrest me, put me in handcuffs, and take me off in their police car to jail. And my kid witnessed this whole thing, and I can only imagine how much trauma he must have had. He was only 3 years old when this happened. This must be the second craziest thing that has ever happened in my life. What's the craziest thing, you're wondering? Well, that would have to be milliontoken.org, the cryptocurrency moonshot coin that we launched last week, the Shiba token killer, the Dogecoin killer, king of moonshot cryptocurrencies.
Let's talk about Tech Lead's Million Token. What is it? What does it do? Who's it helping? I'm going to walk you through all of it, and also, not to give too much away, but I will at the end of this video also crunch the numbers and show you exactly how much money Tech Lead has made with this coin, and the answer is millions of dollars. All from a coin which in my opinion is a clever but massive scam. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the tin. Remember that at the beginning of this video, I said I thought Tech Lead's Million Token was a clever scam. I don't say that often. Most people are pretty dumb with their scams or careless. Tech Lead is neither of those things. He tried to pull off quite a clever scam.
This became big news. The back and forth lasted a short while, but the result was the Tech Lead having his name stained once again as a snake oil salesman. Now, people just saw him as one of those crypto scammers. While spending time on Twitter arguing with random people, somebody would respond to Tech Lead in a way that hit very close to home.
Then somebody replied to me and said, maybe I should just go to Japan and visit my kid there. It was a totally unrelated comment to this topic at hand, and yet 100% completely relevant to me.
Not all hope was lost. With multiple people telling him to fight to see his son again, the Tech Lead geared up to travel across the world for one last attempt at seeing his son again. I left him in the trap, drinking out of cups made of styrofoam, and I don't wanna waste my time. I've been watching every single Andrew Tate type of video, and I know, baby mama tripping and I don't know why. She left me all alone in an empty house. I know that we all could be alright if I could learn to code my life. I left him in the trap, drinking out of cups made of styrofoam, and I don't wanna waste my time. I've been watching every single Andrew Tate type of video, and I know, baby mama tripping and I don't know why. She left me all alone in an empty house. I know that we all could be alright if I could learn to code my life. The Tech Lead travels to Japan in search of his son, going to his school in hopes of finding him there, but his wife anticipates this and pulls the child out of the school early. He was becoming desperate, and so he decided to go to the neighborhood where his ex-wife stayed. As he comes around the corner, he spots his ex-wife talking to the policeman. The Japanese police wanted to put him in the back of the van and take him to the station. He was being arrested. Now, what do you think the genius millionaire did to avoid being arrested?
So I just start running. And I make a mad dash for it, and then the policemen start yelling at me and say, hey, slow down, get back here. And they start running after me as well, and I'm trying to get into the oncoming traffic, trying to find my way out of this scenario because I need to find a place to hide. Everybody's coming after me, my legs get soft. Maybe I just hadn't exercised in a long enough time. You know, I've been kind of sitting in the hotel room for the past 3 weeks, and yeah, I didn't make it. I collapsed onto the street. They came down, pinned me down, took me into the police stations, and all I can say is, at that moment when I was captured, I at least tried to make a joke like, hey guys, it was good exercise at least, right?
After explaining his side of the story, the conversation turned friendly. They talked about cultural differences, comparing women of America to women of Japan, and of course spoke about his profession as a software engineer. After a while, the police let him go, telling him to hire a lawyer if he wants to see his own son.
That's right. If you want to see your own kid, you need to hire a lawyer to be able to see your kid.
You see, more and more people have begun to point out the problems with the Tech Lead's character. They say his sarcasm has become far less detectable than it already was. He has become far more controversial, less consistent, and hypocritical. But most concerning is his videos on CoffeeZilla.
CoffeeZilla belongs in jail, okay? And I'm serious about this. This guy, he's this YouTuber internet detective. He is such a smug, hate-filled, cyberbullying, cyber-stalking character. The American culture in particular is, I would say, kind of ugly because it's focused on capitalism, making money, individualism, and people like CoffeeZilla. It's just a basic Midwest hick, right? Like he grew up in Texas or something, and he has no appreciation for beauty. Okay, this is serious. Lex Friedman molested me the other day. Yeah, that's right. So I did not want to make a video about this, but the truth had to come out. When you choose to say, hey, you're going to side with CoffeeZilla, then you're going to turn people like me off. You're going to turn off everybody who he has decided to criticize. Next up, what, you want to interview Sam Bankman-Fried after having praised CoffeeZilla, celebrating the critics, the haters, as one of the world's greatest journalists and the, savior of mankind, and now you want to be friends with SBF? Pick a side.
All of these traumatic situations, the police chase, the humiliating failures to try and see his son and his ex-wife, led to the decline of his mental health. Allow me to speculate. You see, there's this YouTuber named Think Before You Sleep, and another called Roma Army. They both make videos on men's issues. They have very different approaches though. Think Before You Sleep made a video on Roma Army, essentially calling her a grifter, that her whole "I'm a woman who cares about men's issues" thing is a gimmick. In that video, there's a segment where he picks apart Chloe's traumatic past in an unsympathetic way. She would respond to that video. and then respond again, and then respond again. All of this despite Think Before You Sleep saying he no longer wants to be a part of the issue, and the video being more than 2 years old. Think Before You Sleep eventually responds with a video where he apologizes for talking about Chloe's trauma in an unempathetic way. In that video, he explains how Chloe's focus on responding to the same video over and over is because of unresolved trauma being triggered by viewers who comment Think Before You Sleep was right every time she makes a mistake or finds herself at odds with her fans, which is a reoccurring reminder of the unempathetic way in which her trauma was picked apart in front of thousands of people.
No one except for Chloe has ever reacted to my content this negatively, and some of that might be my fault. I'm actually kind of concerned and distressed that she can't move on from it, which is why I'm making this video. So what happens is that Chloe has all these problems that she hasn't fixed over the past 2 years, and every couple of months when she screws up, people flood her inbox with my videos saying, "Look, Think Before You Sleep was right."
When I look at the tech lead and coffeezilla situation, I see some parallels with the Roma Army and Think Before You Sleep situation. For the past few years, the tech lead had been going through a pretty devastating and traumatic life situation. And in the middle of struggling to come to terms with never seeing his son again, a man who destroys reputations for a living points to him and calls him a scammer. In the middle of his own immediate family being hostile to him, the online community became hostile to him as well. And then coffeezilla compares a man who has had his family ripped away from him by his own wife and has tried pretty much every way to reconnect with them, even getting arrested for trying to see his son, to a son who purposefully isolated himself from his own family for something as stupid as followers.
And honestly, it's cringy. It really reminds me of this guy that was seen on Dr. Phil. I mean, you'd look at this guy and think he's got a mental illness.
I mean, I don't talk to my family.
Why not?
They're irrelevant.
They're irrelevant?
None of them have followers. If they got followers or got rich, I'd probably talk to them again.
Now, hang on a minute. Did you just say I don't talk to my family because they don't have followers?
If they had followers, they'd be here right now.
This is honestly the tech lead mentality.
The tech lead is obviously a very business-focused, money-focused person. But given everything he has done just to have a moment with his child, I wouldn't go as far as to suggest that he's the type of person to excommunicate his only son for money. Just as Chloe, who's reminded of Think Before You Sleep's video every time she screws up, something similar happens to the tech lead every time he screws up. But this is just speculation on my part. Patrick Hsu discovered early on that intelligence and hard work can help you conquer many situations. It propelled him to the top levels of the computer science world and made him popular on YouTube Tech, and gave him the American dream. But no amount of money, intelligence, and hard work could keep his family together. But in the end, the empty apartment left a hollow opening in his heart. But as for you, someday, when you're struggling with something and you need help from someone, somewhere in your grandparents' backyard, I hope you can still find the tech lead.
Are you the tech lead?
I left him in the trap, drinking out of cups made of styrofoam, and I don't wanna waste my time. I've been watching every single Andrew Tate type of video, and I know, baby mama.
So, that's it. Thank you for coming along on this ride. I mean, it's longest video I've made, 26 minutes, something like that. So, if you like this video, like, share, subscribe. Also, got a Patreon, guys, and I was gonna make one much later, but then I realized that I might as well just make one right now and just get good at using it, just like how I'm making YouTube videos right now and getting good at that. So I figured that I'll just do it right now. Separate them into 4 tiers, I think: warrior class, citizen class, warrior class, janissaries, and Grand Vizier. Yeah, so it starts from $3, which is the recommended thing that Patreon recommends, probably because they take a cut, and so yeah, that's probably where it will start. But if you want to support me in that way and you want to make this channel grow, help the channel to grow, and you see value in anything, then you can go to Patreon and get the benefits from there of supporting. You know, I've no problem with any kind of support, whether it's just like, subscription, or even just watching is a kind of support. So yeah, let me not waste too much of your time, since I've already taken up like half an hour. Yeah, so thank you so much for coming along on this ride, and I will see you guys in the next one. Until then, mentally and physically, take care.